were no other defensive spirit creatures left. If that was the case, it might come down to paying the overpriced coiled horn sheep. Suddenly, a seller announced that the spirit beast meat was all sold out. The buyers could see more heavily injured spirit beasts, and they suggested that he butchers them. Yuan's eyes sparkled when he heard about the heavily injured spirit beasts. Smarty reminded him that it wasn't the time to be thinking about braised pork. The man felt sorry for those poor creatures inside, and to the buyers that he kept waiting. He encouraged them to take a look. There were only 3 left, so he promised them that if they buy them, they would definitely be guaranteed a profit. Most of the people left because they wanted a butchered one already. They had no idea how to heal them and the money to hire a creator, so they weren't interested. Yuan went to the front, and the seller informed him that he's too late since they were all sold out and the stall wouldn't be selling beast meat anymore. He clarified that he wasn't there to buy meat, but instead, he'd like to see the spirit beasts inside. Yuan noticed that the boss looked unstable, so he thought that if he negotiates it now, he might just be kicked out. But he's different now. He has the skill Calm Mind, and seeing how the seller calmer now, it looked like it took effect. The seller told him that he's not that old and he could just call him Brother Yang. There were 3 heavily injured spirit creatures inside, so he took them there. He showed them to the web-spraying spiders. They looked healthy enough from the front, but their abdomens have been torn open. At that rate, they won't last more than 2 days. Smarty complained that it stinks. This web-spraying spider was under the species Araneomorphi/Aranete. It was a normal grade level 10, poison type, perfect quality spirit creature. It has the skill called Lay Thread, where it spits out sharp, hard-to-see, spider silk along its path of movement. It also has a poison net, which sprays a web net laced with toxins. Yuan knew that if it weren't for the dimensional rift, they would have become a copper rank spirit creatures in no time, so they were a great find. If they weren't injured, they would probably sell for 300,000 Federation coins on each star net. The seller told him that support-type spirit creatures with control and poison abilities could sell for even higher, but now he'd be lucky to get 150,000 Federation coins for both of them combined. Yuan expressed that he wanted to buy those 2 web-spraying spiders, but he doesn't have enough money on him, so he suggested trading them for spirit creatures. Brother Yang shared that after he's done with that batch, he's planning to open another spirit creature breeding base and start over from scratch, so he might not necessarily need the spirit creatures that he's offering for trade. Deep inside, he realized that kids would always be kids, and he had his hopes up for nothing. Yuan asked if he would change his mind if they were elite grade green creepers. The seller asked if he wanted to trade elite grade green creepers. He checked what the quality was. Yuan was confident in their quality. He encouraged him to come to his place and inspect them first. Brother Yang knew that elite grade green creepers were priceless. Anyone willing to sell them usually asks for double the market price. He showed Yuan the last spirit creature that they have left. They poured their hearts and souls into that one. It was a rhino rock ox under the species Bovidae/bison, an elite grade level 10 earth type. It was of epic quality. It has the skill called Rock Horns, where it coats horns in rock and launches a reckless, self-sacrificing charge. The other skill was called Sacrifice, wherein when its contractor is harmed, it willingly takes on a share of the damage. Yuan's eyes glimmered when he saw that. He asked how much it was being sold for. It was a good choice since it was an epic quality creature that was about to reach copper rank, and it's a defensive type, perfect for Shu. Brother Yang asked him if he's serious since his condition wasn't good. He replied that it was perfect. He suggested buying it at 200,000 Federation coins. Brother Yang asked him if he has a way to heal the Rhino Rock Ox. He considered that the kid had a creator backing him. Brother Yang confirmed with Yuan if he's going to take all of those 3 in exchange for the elite grade green creepers. Yuan assured him that the green creepers won't disappoint him. Smarty seconded that Yuan doesn't lie. Brother Yang believed him, and now that he would be taking all 3 spirit creatures, he could pack up his stall and they'll head out in a bit to see the green creepers. Good thing he has the spirit lockbox right there. He'll just pack up the Rhino Rock Ox and the web-spraying spider and bring them along. He threw it, and it had become larger. Smarty asked what it was. He replied that it was a spirit lock box. It's a patented invention from Ostrich Logistics. They could store spirit creatures inside, and their size adapts to the box, and their weight is negated, making them light and easy to transport. Smarty was surprised to learn that there was something that good. He asked how they had never used one. Yuan replied that their family never had the spare cash for something like that before. The Rhino Rock Ox entered. Smarty couldn't believe that something that huge would really fit in there. Brother Yang felt sad that the Rhino Rock Ox would never get the chance to evolve into a copper rank spirit creature like the spirit box in copper rank. After that, he released his tumor-crowned fire lizard. This is from the Lizardae family horned lizard genus. It is at copper rank 7 out of 10 and at normal quality. For skills, it has shedding fangs, in which, during a bite, it can detach its teeth, leaving them embedded in the target's body. It also has a death roll wherein, after biting a target, it twists and rotates its body with its mouth as the core to rip away flesh and bone. It has an exclusive trait, which is the burning venom wherein proliferating poison glands connect to the salivary glands, infusing its saliva with a burning toxin. It cuddled on him. He was proud of this spirit creature, so he asked if Yuan thought it was impressive too. Yuan was so impressed that he checked it thoroughly. It was a rare chance to observe a copper rank spirit creature up close. Its burning venom trait gives it a powerful offensive edge. Brother Yang had observed that he's incredible to have mastered the specialized knowledge of a spirit creature researcher at such a young age. He thought that if he's not a natural prodigy, then he must have a master guiding him. He bet that he made the right call on this one. Suddenly, someone called Brother Yang. The other vendors complained that he suddenly summoned his tumor-crowned fire lizard all of a sudden. Their tough rabbit hide became too scared to eat. It was the same for the fairy monkey too. He apologized and informed them that they would be leaving at once. Yang, Yuan, and Smarty rode the tumor-crowned fire lizard, and they sped off. It was way faster than a thick hoof donkey cart. Eventually, they have reached their destination. Brother Yang commented that Yuan's place was closer than he thought. He also noticed that Yuan was in great shape since most people can't help but feel sick their first time riding one of those. But it was nothing to Yang, because the real thrill to him was riding a flying spirit creature and looking down at the world. Despite how sick he and Smarty looked after riding, he still thanked him because it was the first time he rode a copper-rank spirit creature. He opened the door while setting his expectation that the place was a bit plain and telling him to make himself at home. Brother Yang subtly observed the place, and he could tell that it doesn't look like a place where a creator would be living in seclusion. If the kids' green creepers weren't up to par, then their deal was off, since business is business. He was thinking of that until he saw the green creepers. He was fully convinced that a creator was involved since it was impossible to cultivate elite-grade green creepers of such high quality without a creator's help. It was far beyond his expectations. They were really prime quality, considered to be rare items that few merchants could even find on the StarNet. Before those green creepers evolved, he added energy ore to the soil, so their root systems were all developed. Yuan was confident that there were no problems with their quality. Brother Yang saw that the sap from the cutting was so rich. He realized that the kid wasn't exaggerating when he said it was top-tier elite grade. He was hopeful that his luck was finally turning around. He recalled his experience when he visited a master creator. To get their help, one must offer them the spirit materials they like. At his level, he had no way of obtaining those materials, so he thought of getting on Yuan's good side. Yuan asked if he's satisfied with those green creepers. He replied that he was very satisfied, and it was time for them to talk about the price. He acknowledged that all green creepers were prime quality, elite grade. They would sell like hotcakes on the StarNet for 30,000 apiece. His best offer was 3,000 per pot, and he'll take 100 pots. Smarty was shaken when he heard those numbers, so he tried calculating it. Yuan readily accepted the offer. He happened to need a large quantity to raise his spirit key profession rank, and green creepers were the most convenient way. It was no small transaction, and yet Yang noticed that the young man was completely calm and unflappable. He thought Yuan was used to big deals. He started thinking that the ordinary clothes and small shop was a smoke screen set up by the person backing him. He asked how many days he needed to prepare the goods. Yuan replied that he needed 7 days. He came up with that after considering that he spent an hour per pot, 2 days to deliver spirit creatures to Shui, and factoring in time to rest. Meanwhile, Yang was thinking that he had received a blessing in disguise and his luck had finally turned. After the exchange of Rhino Rock Ox and Green Creeper, Yuan instructed him to pick them up in 7 days. Yang asked if he's certain that he doesn't want a deposit for the remaining 70-plus pots. Yuan replied that they could just settle the full amount when he came to pick them up. He told him he'd be back in 7 days. Yuan replied that he'd see him then. After that, it was time for the most troublesome task. He placed the Rhino Rock Ox in the backyard. Yin asked if he was going to live with them permanently. Smarty replied that they can't afford to keep him. Yuan responded that they have to save him first. The Rhino Rock Ox was already extremely weak, so he had to hurry. He used his skill and saw the scars slowly recovering. After he confirmed that it was working, he sped up a little. He unleashed more power. The Rhino Rock Ox started making loud sounds. Yuan wondered what was happening. It was like the Rhino Rock Ox was encased in a crystal. He thought that it was a barrier to advancing to copper rank. They continued on, and it was already dusk. Eventually, nighttime came and they were still at it. He was with this big fella and smashing the wall. Finally, a crack had formed, and a powerful energy erupted. It was a success. The Rhino Rock Ox had become an iron-horned rhino ox from the giant horn family bull genus. He was at copper rank level 1, 1 out of 10, metal type, normal quality. It has the rock horn skill where it coats its horns with reinforced metal to deliver a reckless, self-sacrificing charge. And also, the skill sacrifice, wherein when its contractor was harmed, it actively takes on a portion of the damage. And then, for the exclusive trait, Yuan could choose between scaled hide, wherein it grows a layer of scale-like armor on its skin's surface, composed of the same material as its skin. Another option was the tireless trek, which conserves stamina while running, and lastly, pain siphon, in which it absorbs an option of damage taken and converts it into life force. Yuan was having a hard time deciding on which exclusive trait to choose, because out of 3, 2 were pretty good. A skill like Tireless Trek was completely useless for a defense-type spirit creature. As for Scaled Hide, it should create a relatively thick layer of scales on its body, besides increasing its defense. The scraping from the scales could add a bit of damage during a charge, but it was still pretty good. But with Pain Siphon, it could absorb a portion of the damage it takes and heal itself at the same time. It makes it a skill for a tough brute that begs to be hit. Getting tankier the more it attacked was really great, and so he chose that. Now, its status is complete. If Yuan used Rock Horns and Pain Siphon properly to create a positive feedback loop, it's less of a defense type and more of a heavy offense type spirit creature in defensive clothing. It's the perfect first spirit creature for Zhou. Yuan was confident that no one would dare to get near her now. Funnily, Smarty commented that it would make Shui and the iron-horned Rhino Ox a beauty and the beast combo. But Yuan didn't care about that since the most important thing was Shui's safety. And besides, he pointed out that Smarty was a beast too. Yuan could feel that his spiritual power increased too, aside from the iron-horned Rhino Ox ranking up. The higher the rank of the spirit creature he evolves, the more spiritual power, feedback, he receives. Just getting the iron-horned Rhino Ox to break through to copper rank took almost all of his strength. If it were a top-tier creator, using all sorts of heavenly and earthly treasures, he wondered what level it would evolve. Smarty, drenched from the iron-horned Rhino Ox's licking, asked how he's going to send it to Shui. He replied that he's going to do it with the Ostrich Logistics. He just made some money, and since he was in a hurry, he placed an express flight order and they would soon be there to pick it up. Smarty got excited when he heard that. He wanted to fly like Yin Yin. Meanwhile, at the Hui Yue Palace, a person talked about using 3 portions of patchouli sprouts, 1 portion of sunken sea ebony, 1 portion of platinum beast blood essence. It was all placed in a vial. A military personnel asked the city lord what that is. The esteemed woman beside her warned him not to speak out of turn. And then a solid item was dropped inside it. It produces a powerful energy around it. And then a woman with blonde hair added a red liquid, and thick red smoke covered the area. Those 2 people behind him felt the immense pressure just from him concocting. It was even forcing out their protective spiritual aura. They had just witnessed a 5-star creator. This creator told them to summon the spirit creature that they wish to evolve. This woman is the Moon Empress, one of the 3 5-star creators of the Radiant Federation. The man named Sikong, a king-grade expert, felt relieved. Ling Xiao, the lady of Violet Thorn City, a king-grade expert, smiled and reiterated that he has nothing to worry. Sikong thanked the Moon Empress, then he summoned his spirit creature. She poured the content of the vial on it, and this black tiger with red marks showed its belly. Sikong got worried. Moon Empress assured him that it was fine. It was just evolving into a legendary grade. He would need to fuse the will rune that he had comprehended, and it would evolve into a fantasy breed. He thanked her and vowed to serve her like a loyal dog. He would go through fire, ADN water, and die 1,000 deaths for her. The spirit creature's eye changed. It roared loudly. It woke up a cute rabbit with a crescent mark on its head. Seeing it being woken up, the black tiger with red marks started to tremble. Moon Empress told him that going through fire and water won't be necessary. But she brought up the issue about the selection of creators. Each promotion exam was held every 3 years, and they could only advance 1 level at a time. Given that procedure, they couldn't select truly talented creators that way. Sikong confirmed if she's suggesting that for that year's exam, 1 examinee could test for multiple levels consecutively. She clarified that it would only be from level 1 to level 2. She wanted anyone who passes the Level 1 Creator exam within 2 hours to be exempted from 3 lifestyle profession exams and could directly take Level 2 exam. She told him to go and give the order. He replied yes. Xiao inquired if it was because she felt that no exceptionally talented young people have appeared in the Federation's Creator exams in recent years and that they couldn't even comprehend a single will rune. Moon Empress clarified that it was a merely private matter for her. As fellow 5-star creators, both Bamboo Lord and Kitchen Sovereign have taken apprentices. Naturally, she didn't want to fall behind those 2 old fools. She was surprised that Moon Empress was going to take on an apprentice. Moon Empress added that the dimensional tide was approaching. Violet Thorn City was the city with the most aberrant insect dimensional rifts. As its lord, they must be diligent in their duties to protect the land and its people. She wanted every rift to be guarded, and failure was not an option. Xiao, the city lord, assured her that she would take care of the Violet Thorn City. Meanwhile, Yuan was high up in the air. The driver asked him if he's all right and assured him that the ride would get smoother once they were above the clouds. Yuan suppressed the urge to vomit. The driver noticed that his 100 questions were lively. It was a shame that they were overloaded on the trip. Otherwise, they could have brought it along. Earlier, Smarty threw a tantrum because he wanted to fly, but he couldn't go. Yin held him and reasoned that she's flying him already. Yuan promised to bring back something tasty. Yuan told the driver that it was okay since there would be plenty of other chances. He was told that they're already there, so he should go sightseeing. It was such a magnificent view. The moonlight illuminated the river, making it look so magical. Yuan agreed that it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Then he sensed something condensing in his sea of consciousness. He wondered if that was a will rune. A will rune was the essence of a certain attribute that a spirit key professional comprehends from the natural world. It could be understood as a necessary item for cultivating a fantasy breed. When Yuan held the will rune in his hands, he became certain that it was truly a will rune that represents mountains and rivers. He thought of the types of spirit creatures it's suitable for. But he got distracted when the driver asked if he's all right. He replied yes. Then he asked how long till they reach the Violet Thorn City, since they had been flying through the mountains for a while now. They won't reach it until morning. Yuan was surprised since they were expected to arrive before dawn. The driver explained that it was because he had to come along and got flight sick at the beginning, so he had lowered the speed for him. Yuan replied not to mind him and went full speed. The driver did what was told. At the academy, the students were confused because they were supposed to contract spirit creatures that day, and yet they were gathered in the training grounds. One of them explained that their schedule was changed. Right after contracting spirit creatures, there was a practical combat class. It was such a surprise that the practical combat class was moved up so much. They heard a rumor that it was because of the selection for Violet Thorn's 100 Sons. All the academic year's course schedules were moved up just to pick out the truly talented people. It was deemed the truth because one student had a friend from another school who complained to him about it. The teacher told them that the session informed them that the practical combat class for 3rd year grade, and it also served as the first practical combat drill for the 1st year combat class. In a moment, after the students have formed their contracts, they would be matched against 3rd year students for practice battles according to the numbers they draw, to familiarize themselves with their spirit beast's skills. The female student beside Xue expressed that she was nervous. She asked if Xue would really contract a gray beetle. Xue replied yes. She held it in her hand. The battle started, and a blunt armor pig chased after a small spirit creature. The 1st year's gliding squirrel has fled the battlefield, so the 3rd year won. One 1st year student complained that it was unfair. They had just signed their contracts, and now they're battling their seniors who already have combat experience. The situation was completely one-sided. Xue was next. She was the best in their class, so they hoped she raised the flag of their class. The teacher announced the 9th battle. He asked the candidates if they're ready. The 3rd year replied yes. The 1st years recognized him. He's Feng Lixing. His family has a relative in the Creators Guild. Lixing was participating in the Violet Thorn's 100 Sons and was just a few practical combat victories short. Xue was highly regarded too, but there was a problem with her spirit creature. Deep inside, Lixing felt lucky. He had just received the news from the Creators Guild last night, and now he ran into this bunch of stepping stones to rack up his win rate. To him, it felt like heaven was on his side. Not just the Violet Thorn's 100 Sons, but even becoming a disciple of the Moon Empress was now much attainable, and he's not far from the meteoric rise. He also heard that the 1st year named Zhu plans to contract a gray beetle. If that was the case, she doesn't even have a sliver of a chance to win. Xue was determined. She wouldn't give up even if she only had that gray beetle. She was about to say that she's ready when someone called her. It was her teacher. She was dragging a spirit creature. It was the best that she could do. It was a yellow-spotted dog in elite grade. She didn't want her to waste her talent on a gray beetle. Suddenly, someone told them to wait, and a large bird flew across the sky. Yuan jumped and landed near them. He thanked the teacher for her kindness and informed them that he brought Shui's spirit creature. Xue was surprised to see her brother. He was glad to have made it in time. He encouraged her to trust him and form a contract with it. The teacher was suspicious, though. She probed if they could truly rely on it because if not, there's the yellow-spotted dog, though. It's not very obedient. Lixing laughed out loud. Then he told them that it doesn't matter what spirit creature it was, because whether it was a gray battle, a yellow-spotted dog, or anything else, he was confident none of them could defeat his longtime spirit creature, the Strength King Beetle, a copper rank level 1 insect from the Scarabaeidae Dynastini line, equipped with prime skills like Giant Horn Ram and Valiant Charge, and an exclusive trait, Insect Observation, which lets it see through the camouflage of spirit creatures below copper rank. The teacher got nervous because it was a huge Strength King Beetle. She knew that even the yellow-spotted dog couldn't take a single hit from it. Xue asked him if what he gave her was a copper rank spirit lockbox. It made her wonder how their family got so much money. One of her theories was that her brother sold the store. He told her not to overthink it and focus on the task at hand first. She promised him that she would be fine. She wouldn't let his efforts go to waste. She released the spirit creature and the contract was formed. The students asked what spirit creature was that, because they had never seen anything like it. Its skin was steel. Lixing admits that its entrance was impressive, but he still has the advantage of combat experience. He pitied them for being bankrupt, just for getting a big iron OC that was about to lose. Xue responded that they wouldn't know it until the match was over. She made the iron-horned Rhino-Ox use rock horns. The teacher was thrilled to see the copper-rank iron-horned Rhino-Ox, and its atavism was very thorough. It could be called the cream of the crop among copper-rank defense-type spirit creatures. Its rhino horn alone was worth 700,000 Federation coins. Yuan reminded her not to evaluate it purely based on money. She explained that it was a professional habit for a spirit creature analyst. The rhino horn clashed with the beetle's horn. Lixing called Xue naive for attacking so carelessly. After that, he was ready to show her the fighting power of a power assault-type spirit creature. He used the giant horn ram. Xue made the iron-horned Rhino-Ox hold its ground, just a little bit, and they would have pushed the ox out. Lixing noticed that Xue was truly talented, as she was able to use spirit chi to support a spirit beast so soon after the initial contract. The teacher was relieved that it wasn't knocked out of the field directly. She commented that Xue was reckless. She attacked because she was just provoked a little. It just showed her lack of combat experience. But Yuan knew that wasn't it. If Xue familiarized herself with the iron-horned Rhino-Ox's skills the moment she contracted it, then attacking proactively was a tactic to probe the enemy. The students got confused on what the beetle was doing since it was running fast around the big iron ox. Lixing heard them, and in his head, he thought of them as idiots. There was no other reason that a power assault-type spirit creature starts moving, aside from finding the perfect opportunity to land a fatal blow. He uttered that the little girl must not have imagined what she's about to face. The beetle charged. Xue got worried about the iron-horned Rhino-Ox, but she couldn't see clearly because the whole area was covered with smoke. It was such a powerful charge that they already expected that the big iron ox wouldn't make it. The opponent was a power assault-type spirit creature, famous in school for its one-hit kills. Even the teacher thought the same way. It was hopeless, even if Xue tries her best to channel spirit chi to help it stabilize. And even if it withstands the first hit, it would just be worn down by the constant assault later. They complained that making a third-year fight, a first year in a practical match, was just too unfair. But Yuan thinks it's fine because he had chosen a skill exactly for that kind of situation. Xue instructed the iron-horned Rhino-Ox that it's time. It activated the pain siphon. The students were all confused. The spirit Qi around the iron-horned Rhino-Ox changed, and its wounds were healing. They were curious if it was one of its skills. When the teacher heard about Pain Siphon, she got excited because it means that it could absorb a portion of the damage received and convert it into vitality. It was a rare, exclusive skill. Yuan was proud of Xue. Even though it was her first practical combat and her first time seeing an iron-horned Rhino-Ox, she could still control the situation and seize the opportunity. Lixing shouted that even if it has an iron hide, it was just a slightly tougher punching bag. He made Strength King Beetle continue the attack. The students were amazed with the iron-horned rhino ox because its life force hasn't lessened at all after so many hits. But it just kept taking damage. The teacher probed Yuan if the iron-horned rhino ox that he picked doesn't have a single counterattack skill. She couldn't take that. Jue was just taking hits without fighting back. He told her to calm down and reminded her that she said Jue has an affinity for defense-type spirit creatures. He trusts that she must have her own plan. Lixing instructed the Strength King Beetle to settle this in one blow.